Okay, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect Achion, pushing this word with truth and sincerity. And Shalom to the sincere believer, the Achion and Akwath, listening and learning, part of the hopeful elect. Okay. This is the brother Karatha of Middle Valley, Las Vegas camp, coming back with another lesson. Lord willing, be edifying. I'm just gonna make it quick, to the point. Lord willing, I got a few minutes before I gotta get back to the plantation. But I wanted to focus on Isaiah, the 11th chapter. Let me see what verse. The 13th verse. And it says, I'll start here and I'll jump back. It says, the envy also of Ephraim. Let me see. I think I want to start at 12. I'm going to just read it through, starting at 11. Isaiah 11 and 11. We'll go, it's actually going to be at 10. And in that day, there shall be a root of Jesse. All right, now, Jesse, the father of King David. All right. Then, out of David, you had Solomon, and out of that Davidic line, all right, which that goes back to Judah, but out of that seed line, you have Yahushai, okay, and you could get that in Matthew, the 1st chapter, Romans, the 1st chapter. I actually just grab that real quick. And it says, Romans 1 and verse 3, concerning his son Yahushai HaMashiach, our Lord, which was made of the seed of David according to the flesh. Okay. And that scripture itself, got layers to it. Okay. But it says, jumping back to Isaiah 11 and 10, it says, and in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. All right, Yahushai was that sign. It says, to it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And Yahushai, sent the disciples. All right, well, what the theologians call the Great Commission, when he said, go and preach the gospel to the ends of the world. All right, he told them, I believe in Matthew, the 10th chapter, don't go to the Gentiles. All right, but rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Okay, foreshadowing, that talking about those Israelite foreigners. All right. He, appointed the Apostle Paul to be the apostle of the Gentiles. So yeah, it starts the gathering of our nation, which it also says that it's going to say we've been scattered in all these lands, but the gathering started with Yahushai, okay, and then Yahushai had to reveal that unto us. Okay, doesn't it say in the book of Zechariah that the tents of Judah shall be saved first? And if you go to Genesis, and I wasn't trying to go here with the lesson, but I got to touch on these points now because the Spirit's moving me to do so. In Genesis, the 49th chapter, it speaks about, right here in 49 and verse 10, it says, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, all right, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come. Shiloh, I believe that goes into peace. And unto him shall be the gathering of the people be. So, okay, the scepter, the rulership, okay, those are pointing to the lawgiver of Judah, that same line, all right, that Yahushua came out of, and it says until Shiloh come. Well, I guess what Yahushua is the peace bringer and the gathering of the people. So it's always been in the lot. And it goes back to the book of and what you'll come to find out if you don't know, Yahushua is preached about throughout the whole Bible. But you should know that from the prophets of old, the same Yahushua today, yesterday, we'll say in Hebrews, he changes not, just like the Father. Okay. So the gathering of the people, okay, and pretty much Esau is, even though he caused division through his blessing the sword and kept us not knowing, who we were and who our true family was. Guess what? Now through the affliction, and through the oppression, he's forcing us to lean back onto that scepter, to go look for that scepter, speaking from the perspective of the northern tribes. All right, y'all now waking up that you are in just as bad as a case as the so-called black man. All right. But the Lord had to put you through this pain. Okay, because we, from the northern tribes, which I personally, I never had that evil eye, okay, towards, a Southern Kingdom brother. I grew up, most of my friends that I grew up with, partly because I grew up, hooping. A majority of my friends were of the so-called black, of the Southern Kingdom. And I actually received more envy from my, or more, more animosity from, the northern tribes. But that's just my case. And the Lord had it that way, probably so it would be easier for me to receive the truth when that time came. But yeah, so pretty much what I'm going to get down to is in the 13th verse, where it says that Judah shall not envy Ephraim, and Ephraim shouldn't vex Judah no more. And it's talking about the northern and southern kingdom not, coming together and not vexing each other, not being a thorn in their side. But let's get back on this real quick. I got a few more minutes. This is verse 11. Isaiah 11 and 11. Slakia for the ramble. And it says, and it shall come to pass that in that day the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people. All right, which means that this is the second time. All right, here in Babylon the Great is the second time this has happened. Enough said. Hey, that which has been is now, nothing's new. Which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. So, Israelites everywhere, though you be as the sand of the sea. All right. And he shall set up ensign for the nation, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. And he's doing that through this gospel, first and foremost. Now, I talked about that affliction in Jeremiah, just to keep this short. In Jeremiah 50 and 33, it says, Judah and Ephraim, northern and southern kingdom, shall be oppressed together. Okay, now the northern tribes is feeling that oppression, with the alphabet boys coming down harder and harder. You just had that woman get, which it wasn't even that bad. She was popping off. I forgot what country she was from, but the ICE agent. I'm trying to be low key with it, but it's whatever. But that alphabet letter dude, shoved her to the ground, and he looked like he was of the same kind, of the same. He looked like he was a Jake too. But he's a centurion for Esau, and they made a big deal about it. But hey, she could have got a lot worse done to her, in my opinion. All right, so verse 13. So those outcasts is Israelite foreigners, that took hold and stayed in those countries where Israel was captive to, or got, where they left, and they were outcasts, strangers. All right. But now they're being called back first and foremost by the gospel of the Lord. All right, and the prophets. Verse 13, it says, the envy of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. So, hey, that northern and southern kingdom rivalry, I'll put the picture up for the cover of when old boy on what was that movie with Pac and Juice. You had the Ephraimite acting like he was gonna poke him up. That's the best depiction right there. Northern and Southern Kingdom rivalries, man. I ain't watched that movie in so long, but that's besides the point. In the kingdom, we coming in together, but we need to lean on the brothers. All right, the body of Yahweh by Shem Yahshua, the elect, is going to receive this truth. And we ain't going to vex each other no more, And you ain't going to have a problem with being taught the gospel by a so-called black man, or they going to listen. People of the northern kingdom. Likewise, the southern kingdom might wake up to a northern tribe brother speaking to him. This is Ezekiel 37. I'm going to just read verse 16. Actually, let me go to John real quick. Okay. Because before I get that, I wanted to also show part of that gathering that Yahweh Shai spoke about, man. That was being spoken about. Because Yahweh Shai said this here in John, the 15th chapter, I believe. Fuck you. Might be the 10th. Yep. St. John 10 and 16, it says, and other sheep I have, which are not of this fold. Them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. Okay. There you go. That other fold of sheep, speaking about Israelite foreigners and the northern kingdom, because at this time they was already gone. And hey, going back to that, because really what inspired this lesson was, I believe it was the elder Amon Gabar's video, where you had a northern tribe. You know, he made a response to a video he posted with it was called like the Israelite man is the shit or something like that. The Jake man is the shit. You know, Jake been the shit. And going into these reporters how women, you know, they choosing Jake, which, you know, there's a sign of this queendom falling. But a brother, a brother posted on there that, like, you know, he was like, man, Judah always get the glory, and he could have been playing, but hey, that's gonna go away, and you know, everything is in the lot, in respective lot, you know. Also, you had the elder Menat Zakba do a video on this Jake that was saying, you know, the so-called Mexican aren't Israelites, you know. So those two things kind of, you know, and it was a brother, could have been a terror, could have been, you know, he could have been Jake from the Southern Kingdom. But just to prove the point, man, right here in Ezekiel 37:16, it says, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it, Judah and for the children of Israel and his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it, for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel and his companions. And thus, speaking of, you know, the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, Ephraim being that the head of the northern kingdom, which it can be referred to as Joseph too. All right, but when it says Ephraim, it just includes northern kingdom, likewise with Judah, the southern kingdom in the scriptures. It says, and join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thy hand. All right, now I want to drop, that was a point. Now I want to drop down to 24. And it says, and David my servant shall be king over them, and they shall all have one shepherd, and that's, you know, Yahweh Shai. They shall, you know, you can read on this like, yeah, I want to make sure I didn't. Because really, we could read the rest of this chapter. Yeah, I really wanted 22, so like, yeah. I'm going to read 21 and 22 and close out. I'm getting close to going over. 21, it says, and say unto them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they have gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all. And that's Yahweh Shai. Now, Yahweh Shai say he's the Alpha and Omega. It all starts, the gathering starts with Shiloh, and it ends with Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai is Shiloh. Okay, let's leave it at that. It says, and they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. All right, and we'll leave it there. Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. You know, hey, it's going to be a beautiful thing in the kingdom. You know, when everybody's eyes see the truth, you know, and hey, it's just going to be glorious when this nation is truly unified in Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. So with that, call Allah Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, and Shalom to the elect.